I've been getting a ton of questions about automating the ORB indicator with the Predator X. The last video we did on this was done with the old version of the Predator, and since then we've not only added new ways to automate this indicator, we've also added ways to easily customize where your orders are set. Some parts of this video are going to be somewhat familiar to some of you, but I wanted to make an updated comprehensive guide that should hopefully help answer all of the questions when it comes to automating ORB with the Predator. So that includes how to create an entry at the breakout of the ORB, whether that entry is set as soon as the bar closes past the range, or if you want to enter the moment the price crosses in real time. I'm also going to show you how to use the ORB as a filter. One example being maybe you want to take a reversal entry, or maybe you have a separate third-party indicator you want to use to trigger your trades. Whatever it may be, some traders only want to enter long above the range or enter short below the range. So I'll show you how to set that up as well. And lastly, for those wanting to use certain levels as a stop or profit target, I'm going to show you how to make sure those get set up properly so you can create your perfect ORB strategy. Everything in this video will be timestamped below, so if you're looking for specific information, make sure to check that out. And just a quick disclaimer before we get started, nothing you see here is profitable or trading advice. We are not going to cover any actual trading setups in this video. These are just examples to show you how to create your own ORB bot with the Predator X. So make sure you use this at your own risk. Links for the free ORB indicator and a link to get a free trial of the Predator X are all going to be down below. First, let's go through a quick little rundown of how the ORB indicator works. The ORB is used to find the high and the low of a defined time period. Once our period ends, we then start looking for the price to break out of this range, and the idea is that we have a higher probability of the trade going in that direction of the breakout. Now, this free opening range indicator has a lot of options, but for now, we just need to look at the actual opening range. So right here, we have it starting at 9:30 a.m. This is the start of your opening range. Your end time, this one I have it set at 9:45. So within this time period, we are constantly looking for new highs and we're looking for new lows. Now, when it comes to the opening range, there is no correct opening range time, no correct end time. Everyone's going to have different parameters. And it also depends on the type of market you're trading. For example, the most popular one is the New York start time. Or maybe you're trading the London session, maybe an Asian market. Whatever it may be, you have the ability to choose the start and the end time to suit your needs. And you also have the ability to choose many different time zones as well. The only thing when it comes to customizing the times, I do recommend that your PC and your NinjaTrader time zones are both the same. This uses parts of your NinjaTrader time, and it also uses parts of your actual computer time zone. So if they're mismatched, that could lead to issues. I see this quite a bit. All you have to do is either change your NinjaTrader time zone or change your computer time zone so they are both the same. It doesn't matter what time zone you're in, again, as long as they're both the same. But with that said, I'm not here to debate the best times for the ORB. My focus with this video is just to ensure that you are able to take the trades that you need when using this indicator with the Predator X. So with that, we're moving on to show you a few different ways we can enter trades using the breakout of this opening range. So the first method, and probably the easiest method, it's what I recommend if you're brand new to the Predator. This will probably be the easiest way to actually set up an order entry. So with this opening range indicator, we have these arrows. And the Predator X, as you may or may not know, it can take entries when it detects a draw object signal. So all that we need to do with this indicator, it makes it super simple. We just have to copy this above upper and this below lower. We're going to use these tags inside the Predator in order to automate our entries. So let me show you how to set that up. Just go to strategies and open up the Predator X. And we're going to scroll down to the custom signals, create one entry signal. For this example, we are using object mode. And for your long entry, that is above, upper. So for that one, you would see an arrow if the price was to break above. For your short signal, this tag is called below, lower. And that is all that you need. Now, I do have more extensive videos on how the object signal system works. I do highly recommend watching that video because it goes through several examples of how the system works. But for this specific video, we're just focusing on the ORB. So let's go to our chart and see how this works. All right, so once you have everything set up, simply enable the predator. And you're going to want to check your validation system up here on the top left-hand corner. If you see these check marks, that means everything is being read properly. You should be good to go. If you see something like an hourglass, it could mean either that signal has not shown up yet, or maybe you have a typo. Just scroll back through previous days and make sure you have all of the draw object signals showing somewhere in here. So for example, if you were to see below, lower, and you see an hourglass, you likely have a typo somewhere. Just go back into the predator, make sure everything is set up properly. It's usually some sort of a typo that's going to prevent this check mark. Again, guys, see the user guide. I have a whole comprehensive guide of how to make sure we set all of this up properly. But back on our current day, let's just hit play and see how this works. Right now, we have our start and our end time. Now we're just waiting for the price to break below or above this opening range.
Order submitted.
So there we go. The price broke below the opening range. Once the bar closed, it got us into our trade with any management that we have selected. From here, you could also add trail stops, different targets, auto position size, really whatever you want. But again, we're just focusing on the entries. So that is one way to enter with these draw objects. But one question I do get asked quite a bit is, Dre, how do I make it so it enters the moment it crosses that opening range while the bar is still forming? For example, right now, it waits until the price actually closes below to enter us. But again, if you want to enter the moment it crosses on this candle right here, let me show you how to set that up.
Order filled.
So let me reverse. And again, guys, this is not trading advice. I'm just showing these examples so you guys can build your own opening range any way that you want. Now, the first thing that you need to do is make sure your indicator is updating in real time. By default, it's on bar close. That means it only updates once the bar closes. So here you can see the indicator is only on this previous bar while this bar is still forming. So how we update this, we have to go into the indicator itself, scroll all the way down to the calculate method, and we're going to change this to on price change. This is now going to make it so the opening range updates as the bars are still forming. So now to make it so the predator enters the moment it crosses below, go back into the predator properties this time. And we're going to change the bars to go entry to 0. So what does bars to go entry mean? A bars to go entry of 1 means while the bar is forming, it's looking at one candle to the left for a signal. So that's why when the bar closes, it looks to the left, and that's how it enters the trade. This is true for maybe 95% of indicators out there. But if you want to enter the moment it crosses in real time, you have to change this to 0. This will mean it only looks at the same bar that is currently forming. Now, I have to add this because it's one of the most common reasons why the signal system stops working. If your indicator does not update in real time, this will cause it to not enter trades. Again, most indicators should be at 1, but in this case, because we're trying to enter in real time, we change it to 0. Again, if your indicator does not update in real time, this will cause it to not take trades. So be aware of that. And you also get a warning down here. But let's go back to our chart and we're going to enable it. Again, always verify your validation system.
Order submitted.
And now the second it crosses that opening range, we get our signal and it gets us into that trade. All right, so that's how we can enter trades using these draw object arrows. But I know many of you guys are using the updated version of the custom signal system where we can actually use any indicator plot to enter a trade. So let's go into the Predator properties and let's set this up. There are a few things to note when it comes to using this opening range indicator. And it's really one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video. Just some issues we've been running into. And it's nothing to do with the Predator. It's more of how this opening range indicator was coded. But I'll get into that in just a second. But for this example, we just want to use plot mode. So like what I was just mentioning a few seconds ago, when it comes to this opening range indicator, it does have built-in plot value signals where a breakout of the lower range gives you a -1 value for a short entry. And if it breaks above, it gives you a +1 value. So technically, this will work to enter a trade. You just have to select the tag from the validation system. Again, I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. But the problem with this opening range indicator is sometimes we can get multiple signals on the same bar. And what I mean by that is we can also set not just the opening range, but we can also set quarter targets. With this one, we can set a mid-range. We can set outer targets as well that are all going to have their own individual signals. If you were to get a big bar, kind of like this one, where it crosses multiple plots, you could get multiple signals on that same bar, which will give you the wrong value and make it not trade. So I will likely make an updated version of this indicator later on. But for now, we can get around this very easily with the Predator's own custom signal system. So I do recommend, if that is a route that you're taking, you are using the plot mode as opposed to object mode, I recommend changing this to price cross above Indy for the longs and price cross below Indy for the shorts. That is all you need to do. This is going to be a little bit more robust than using the plot signals for this specific indicator. So let's go to our chart. So for the plot mode, it makes it a little bit easier because we don't actually need to extract any tags. We can just simply wait for a price change. Once your P&L shows up, come up here to the validation system. And from the dropdown, you can select any plot that's on the chart. What we're doing here for our long entry, that's the L, opening range high when the price crosses above the high. For our short, we had it set at price cross below Indy. So that is opening range low. And that is all that you need. So let's hit play.
Order submitted.
And again, once the price closes below that indicator plot, the Predator is going to enter you into the trade just the same as the object mode. And of course, guys, you can also do this in real time with plot mode just the same. Make sure, if that's the case, your indicator, again, must be updating in real time. And you have to use the scan current bar real time. And what that's going to do is similar to bars that go 0. The moment that price crosses the indicator plot, it's going to enter you into that trade. All right, now the next common question I get is, Dre, I want to set my profit targets based on the range of the opening range. So I know some traders like to take the high and the low of the range, multiply that value, and set that for their targets. And the same thing for their stop. They either, when going short, want to set their stop at the high of the range, sometimes maybe even the middle. And again, opposite if you're going long. So with this opening range indicator and with the Predator's order management system, we are able to do just that. So let me show you how to set that up. And we're just going to replay the exact same times. All you need to do is set up the targets or where you want your stop set within the indicator itself. So open up the indicator properties. And for this example, we already have the mid-range showing. So that's the middle point between the high and the low. The quarters are going to be inside the range as well. But if you want actual profit targets, we can select show target 1 and show target 2. And the multiplier is just a multiplier of the high versus the low. So here's an example. A value of 0.5 takes the same distance between your high and your low, multiplies it by 0.5, or in this case cuts it in half, and then adds a target. So this would be your target 1. So it's half of this entire high versus low. And it sets it for a long and it sets it for a short. A value of 1, it takes that entire range between the high and the low and multiplies it by 1, or the same distance, and adds it to the high or to the low. So if you were to do a value of 2, this would make it so it's 2 times the range of the high versus the low. So all you have to do is configure this however you want. I'm going to leave it 0.5 and 1. Those I think seem to be the most popular targets. So again, all you have to do, enable the Predator with really any order entry that you like. You can keep either plot mode, you can keep the object mode, or really you can use any other order entry type as well. All you have to do is once you enable it, again, wait for the price change. That will load all of the plots on the chart, and you can just come up here to your order management system. So for the stop loss, let's say we want to select the middle. So all you have to do is select that plot from the chart. If you were doing something like the high or the low, you can just click on these arrows right here, and it's going to split your long and your short. So you could, for a long stop, do the opening range low, and for your short stop, you could do the opening range high. Again, for this example, I'm just going to keep it right in the middle. And then you can do the exact same for your targets. So your long target 1, let's say it's this one, long target 1. So that is OR target 1. Your short target is going to be the opposite. They use different plots, so you must select OR target minus. And if you want to select a second target, you can do that as well. So OR target 2, and for the short, OR target minus 2. That should be all that you need. Again, let's just play it, see what that looks like.
Order submitted.
So here we entered the trade exactly how we defined, automatically sets our stop directly on that middle plot that we defined, and it sets our targets 1 and 2 directly on the plots that we defined. Let's see if we can get a long example as well. I feel like we've only done shorts in this time period. And of course, guys, you can set any trail stops, you can set any management, you can even bring your stop down manually if you want. Really, the Predator gives you as much customization as possible. Then we are just waiting for the price to cross above, so we can see the difference between both of these.
Order submitted.
All right, so there we go. The price crossed above that opening range. It got us with a market order, actually a little bit below, but again, the indicator itself crossed above, set our stop directly on the middle, and then set our profit targets on the range plots that we defined. So again, guys, you can configure this in many different ways. Really, whatever targets fit your needs. You don't have to use the plots. You have a bunch of different options that are included with the Predator as well. Or you could use completely different indicators, mix and match, whatever suits your needs. But now I want to move on to using the opening range to create a filter for a separate auto entry. I know I get this asked quite a bit because some users maybe just want to take trades that are above the range or below the range. So let me show you how to set that up right now. So there may come times where you may want to, instead of using the opening range indicator to actually submit an order once the price crosses, you just want to use it as a filter to maybe have a separate order entry. So maybe it's an engulfing candle, maybe it's a reversal. Maybe you have another third-party indicator that you want to use as an entry signal. Whatever it may be, these steps are going to ensure we can take short trades when the price is below the opening range, or take only long trades when the price is above the range. So the first thing that you want to do is open up your opening range indicator. So what we need in order to create a filter is an on and an off switch. So you want to turn your short when the price crosses below the opening range, but you want to stop taking shorts when the price crosses back above the lower range. The opposite for your longs. You want to start taking longs when the price crosses above the range, but you want to stop taking longs when it crosses below. So what we have to do is enable these next set of signals, the above lower or below upper. So when we apply those, you're going to see we now get down arrows when the price crosses below the upper, or an up arrow when the price crosses above the lower. Now, this next step is one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video as well. It's just a little bit of a caveat when it comes to this specific indicator. If we look over to the previous day, we see this up arrow. So this would have turned your long filter on. But as you can see, there are no other arrows to actually turn your long filter off. So in this case, I know some of you guys have ran into this situation where you start the next day and your filter is already turned on. So we just need a way to reset it. I'll likely make another update to this opening range indicator in the future just to handle this a little bit better. But for now, you want to scroll down to the show day start arrows. You just want to select that. And I do recommend switching the names to match your off signals. So those would be the same as your inner arrows. So above lower, below upper. So above lower, below upper. And what this is going to do when we hit apply is at the end of the day, it's just going to plot both of these arrows, and we're going to use that as an off filter to help us reset our filter for the next day. But don't worry, I'm going to show you how this looks. If it's a little bit confusing right now, don't worry, we're going to set this up right now. Now, in our Predator properties, we are just going to use a simple reversal entry for the actual entry point. Again, this could be any entry that you want, or it could be another custom signal. But what I want to focus on is creating that filter based on our opening range. So create one filter. And again, this will work object mode or plot mode, but just specifically because of that end of day reset, I do recommend sticking to plot mode, at least until we get another update out. So for our long filter, this is what's going to allow long entries. We have to use the above upper long arrow. So above upper. Now we want to stop taking long trades when we cross below the upper. So that's this pink arrow over here. So below upper. For our shorts, it's the opposite. We cross below the lower. That's when we want to start taking short trades. We turn off our short trades, so we stop taking them. when we cross above the lower. And that is all that you need. Now it's going to automatically filter out, so it only takes trades either above or below that opening range. So let's hit apply. And now we're going to enable this on our chart, and we're just going to run through a quick example of how this looks. So here we crossed below the opening range. And if you look at our validation system, you're going to see that our short filter is now turned on. So now we cross back above, our short turned off.
Order submitted.
We cross back below,
Order
and the
failed.
short again turned back on. So, and then at the same time,
Order
we
failed.
got that reversal. So it got us into the trade, again, with any management that you have selected. Now, we are back above that lower range. So now our filters are off. And now it's going to ignore any reversal that we take within this range. Because again, our filters are turned off. It's only allowing us to take trades either above or below. And we'll give it a minute here to see a long trade. So here we are above the range, so it turns the long on. So now it only allows long trades until we're back below and it turns it off.
Order submitted.
So now here we went above the range, turned our filter on, got a reversal on that same bar. So it got us into a long position. And again, guys, this is not trading advice. I'm just showing these as an example. So
Order submitted.
again, we went back above the range, reversal on that same bar, got us into that trade. And now I'm going to fast forward until the end of the day so we can see how that reset
Order
works
failed.
when it comes to this opening range indicator.
Order failed.
So in this situation, the Predator X automatically resets your filters at the end of the day. That's if you have this option selected. But like I mentioned earlier, with those extra arrows that we added at the end of the day, that's at midnight. And this is mainly just for that opening range indicator. Or else we could run into a situation like this one where we are in a long position. So let me speed this up. And then you'll see as soon as the new day starts at 6 p.m., it does turn it off. But because this indicator keeps going until midnight, if you get another cross above or cross below, it is going to restart that filter.
Order submitted. Order failed. Order failed.
So what those extra arrows are going to do, let's just wait until midnight. Once this bar closes, we're going to get both of these arrows that are just going to shut off that filter. So it will reset our longs, it will reset our shorts. And of course, guys, you're not limited to this either. You can also set time filters within the Predator to make sure you're only taking trades at the exact times that you want to take trades. This is just one little extra tip that I know some of you guys have been running into with this particular indicator. But I think that just about covers everything when it comes to this opening range indicator. As always, all the links for everything are going to be down below. But I hope you found this video useful. As always, take care, enjoy.